start, I'm going to create a slip knot in chain 27. So with herringbone double crochet stitch, you want to chain the amount of stitches you want plus 1. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 27 because we want 26 stitches, and I'll meet you back here. The herringbone stitch creates almost the entire shrug, and to work it, you have your chain plus 1, and we want 26 stitches. And this first 2 counts as a stitch in each row. So we're going to go into the 3rd chain, and we're actually going to go into the back loop. And so it's worked just like a double crochet, except once you get 3, you're going to pull this one through the first one, and then pull yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'll show that to you again. You're going to yarn over, go into the back loop of the foundation chain, pull through. You're going to pull this yarn through the first loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm going to continue to work across this front row, and then I'll show you how you end each row and begin each row. So I've completed every stitch up until the last one, and I'm going to yarn over, insert into the back loop. And inserting into the back loop of the foundation chain just makes the bottom look like the end of an actual stitch. So that'll be helpful whenever you have to add the second sleeve whenever you come back, which will make more sense further in the tutorial. So I yarn over and pull through. I'm going to pull the first loop through the second, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's how you complete a round. And then I'm just going to chain 2. And that chain 2 will be the first stitch of this row. So we're going to skip the first hole, yarn over, and go into through the second one. So go ahead and complete to the end of this row, and I'll show you how you go into the chain 2 at the end. So I'm at the end of my row, and I'm going to show you how to complete every row from here on out. You're going to yarn over, and from the chain 2 of the previous row, you're going to go into the second chain, and you're going to make sure you have 2, you went under 2 of the 3 strands, and you're going to do a regular stitch, and that's how you complete the row. And so for the body or the main rectangle, you're going to work 28 total rows. So we've completed 2 here, and so I need to work 26 more, and then I'll show you how to work the sleeves. I've completed my 28 rows, so now I'm going to show you how you would continue with the sleeves. And when you begin your square or your rectangle, the first sleeve will just continue off of it. So this is how you work the first sleeve, and then I'll show you how you would reattach and work the second sleeve. So I have my chain 2. I'm going to skip the first hole as I normally would and place 1 herringbone stitch. I am then going to decrease the next 2 stitches, and to do this I'm going to yarn over, insert, pull the first loop through the second, and without completing that I'm going to yarn over again, going into the next stitch, pull the first through the second. With 3 loops on my hook, I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we just made 2 stitches into 1. I'm going to continue to place 1 herringbone stitch into each hole until I have 3 stitches plus the chain 2 at the end, so technically 4 stitches left, and then I'll meet you back to show you how to do the second decrease of the row. I have 4 stitches left, and so on the beginning of the row we worked 2 and then decreased the 3rd and the 4th, so now we're gonna decrease the last 2 before we do 2 regular. I hope that made sense. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through, pull the first loop through the second, and before I close that I'm going to go into the next one, pull the first through the second. We have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and that just decreased 2 to 1. So we're going to finish the row. And so the sleeves are worked in a 2-row repeat for 6 sets. So the first row of the sleeve is going to be a decrease row where you decrease the 3rd and the 4th, and then the second, or the 3rd and the 4th to last stitch at the very end of the row. Oh my goodness, I am struggling. And so then the next row I'm going to work is going to have no decreases, so you'll just work that as normal. And so I finished on the sleeve 1 decrease row and 1 regular row. So continue to work 5 more sets of a decrease row and a no decrease row until you have 12 total rows on your sleeve. And it may help you to place a stitch mark at the beginning of the sleeve and where the body ends and where the sleeve begins. And if you haven't, you can just tell because it'll be the first row with a decrease, which you can tell right here 2 goes into 1. So meet me back here whenever you've completed 12 rows on your sleeve. After the 12 rows of decreasing and then a regular row, you're going to just add 1 more regular row without any decreases for a total of 13 rows on each sleeve. And whenever you've completed all 13 rows like I have, I'm just going to yarn over and chain 1 and then cut about a 6-inch tail and pull it through, which creates a knot. And now I will show you how you will begin the second sleeve. To do the second sleeve, you're going to come back to the other end of your rectangle. This is just a smaller swatch. I didn't want to work up another rectangle. And whenever you pick it up, you don't want to go off of what was the previous right side, because if you start here, then you'll have 2 rows that are going this way. So you actually want to go on the opposite, start on the wrong side. So instead of going here, you want to start the opposite way, so your first row will go the correct way. So you would just complete the second sleeve as you would the first, going into the bottom of the foundation chain. After you've completed both sleeves, you will have finished a total of 44 rows for the entire body and sleeves, and your work will be 60 inches long. So now we're going to sew up the sleeves, and there's no right side to the work, so it doesn't matter which way you decide to fold the piece, but you're going to fold the corners of the sleeves together, and then sew, using a whip stitch, you're going to sew 15 rows together. So I'm just going to, if you have a preferred way to sew, you can go ahead and use that one, but I'm just going to insert into the top, and I'm just going to show you a couple and then I'll meet you back at the end. Pull it through. So to do the whip stitch, you go in one way and come out the other, and always do that. And I'm going around the vertical bars of the herringbone stitch, and so it'll start to attach the work. So meet me back here whenever you've completed 15 rows of whip stitch on both sleeves. It's really hard to show the entire shrug on camera, but right now we're going to add the finishing collar around the inside of the shrug. So this is the fold of the body, and then the sleeves have been sewn together. We're going to pick up and add a row of half double crochets around the inside. So you can technically do this wherever you want, so I'm just going to go where it's on camera right now. I have a slip knot on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through 2. So that created a single crochet, but it's going to count as one of the half double crochets just because the starting one is a little more difficult. And then in each vertical bracket, and it's going to be like not very precise just because it's kind of messy along the sides of the herringbone stitch, but to the best of your ability, add 1 half double crochet into every vertical bar. And it's okay if you add more or a little bit less, but try not to add too many less, otherwise it'll get really bunched up and kind of be uncomfortable. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'll show you how it is whenever I get to the sleeves, because there will be a corner. So I'm nearing the sleeve. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to work this. I'm just going to keep putting 1 half double crochet in every vertical bar, even right up until the corner. And then I'm going to kind of shift my work. And this is the last whip stitch, I'm going to place a half double crochet in that. So I placed 1 in the whip stitch, and then I'm just going to keep placing half double crochets along the bars. And I think technically there should be 28 around the collar, just if you like do the math between how many rows that you did a whip stitch in. But I'll let you know how many I end up with and how many rows I end up doing. You can obviously do as many as you want, if you want less or if you want more, if you don't want to do them at all. It's completely up to you. But I'll meet back here with you whenever I'm all done with the collar. I ended up with 64 half double crochets around the collar of my body and sleeves, and I ended up doing 2 rows before I ran out of yarn. I probably had enough to do 3, but I was happy with 2. So yeah, with that, you just have to tuck in your ends and your shrug is all complete. Thanks for watching.